Welcome to this explainer. Today we're tackling a massive, often totally invisible wall standing between a company's marketing promises and the gritty reality of the shop floor. Picture this. Your marketing team just launched this brilliant campaign, right? They've made grand promises of seamless service and lightning-fast delivery. But miles away from that sleek marketing office, out in the loud, busy, intensely physical reality of the warehouse floor, things look entirely different. We're looking at the critical friction point between the raw emotional demands of your customers and the cold mechanical needs of your operational processes. If you've ever wondered why genuinely great customer service ideas just flat out fail the second they hit the assembly line, well, you are in exactly the right place.
Let's think about this scenario for a second. If your customer shouts, "I want my package to arrive fast and undamaged," as an operator working on the assembly line, you can do absolutely nothing with that instruction. Words like fast and undamaged are just opinions. They're completely subjective. To a teenager ordering a new video game, fast might mean tomorrow morning before school. To someone ordering a custom-built luxury sofa, fast could mean 6 weeks instead of 12. If you hand an operator a work ticket that simply says, "Pack this fast," you're setting them up to fail. Operational success only truly begins when you take this raw, subjective emotion and translate it into cold, hard data.
Okay, let's dive into this. How do we get these two completely different worlds to speak the same language? We have to strip away the emotion. On one side of the chasm, you have the customer. They live in a world of feelings, expectations, and perceptions. On the exact opposite side, you've got the operator, the warehouse worker, or the machine programmer. They cannot build a product or pack a box based on a feeling. They operate in a completely binary world governed by seconds, millimeters, and distinct outcomes, pass or fail. To successfully bridge this massive gap, we have to transform those vague, emotional adjectives into specific, rigorous numbers that an operator can actually aim for on the floor.
To build that bridge, we use a specific analytical structure known as a CTQ-tree. Think of it exactly like a real tree. We always start at the broad, expansive canopy at the top with the voice of the customer, or the VOC. This is the overarching emotional desire. Then we travel down the trunk, translating that desire into an external CTQ. This is the precise experience the customer actually notices and perceives out in the real world. Finally, we drill all the way down into the roots to the internal CTQ. These are the specific internal process metrics that we actively measure and control on our own shop floor. It's a progressive, highly logical translation from messy human emotion right down to an exact operational metric.
Now, the crucial concept to grasp here is what CTQ actually means. It stands for critical to quality. In the Lean Six Sigma methodology, a CTQ is basically the ultimate tool for standardizing success. It takes that highly subjective voice of the customer and forcefully turns it into an exact, measurable requirement. Because think about it, without a CTQ, your operators are essentially flying blind. Imagine standing on a fast-moving assembly line, constantly second-guessing yourself, wondering if the work you're doing is actually what the customer wants. In process management, ambiguity is the ultimate enemy. Guessing leads directly to variation, and variation mathematically leads to defects. The CTQ steps in to define exactly what the target is, leaving zero room for doubt.
Let's see how this logical progression builds in the real world by looking at a practical case study. Imagine a high-end e-commerce logistics firm called BlueprintRM&co. This isn't your average warehouse. They handle incredibly expensive, premium design gadgets, so the stakes are incredibly high. If they get an order wrong, it's not just a slightly delayed package, it's a massive hit to a premium brand's deeply guarded reputation. The voice of the customer for BlueprintRM&co is loud and very clear. "I want my expensive design gadget fast." It's an urgent, passionate emotion. But again, fast is entirely useless to the person holding the scanning gun in the warehouse. We need to process this urgent demand through our CTQ tree. First, we take that emotion and translate it into our external CTQ. We have to clearly define what fast actually needs to the customer's real-world perception. For BlueprintRM&co, the external CTQ is mathematically defined as the exact lead time from the very second the customer clicks buy on the website to the exact moment the delivery driver rings their doorbell. Suddenly, fast isn't a feeling anymore. It's a highly specific, measurable duration of time. But our translation isn't quite done yet. Our warehouse packers don't control the delivery truck battling traffic, nor do they control the website servers processing the payment. To give them a target they can actually control, we need an internal CTQ strictly for the packing station. This brings us to the internal CTQ for the packing station, where we establish strict mathematical boundaries. The very first boundary is 30 seconds. This is our Lower Specification Limit, or LSL. Now you might be wondering, why would we set a minimum time for something we want done fast? Well, because mathematically and physically, packing a fragile, expensive design gadget properly takes a certain amount of deliberate care. Picture the physical actions of the operator. They have to carefully fold the premium box, precisely place the high-grade bubble wrap around the delicate gadget, insert the receipt, and perfectly seal the package. If an operator completes all of this in under 30 seconds, they are rushing. And rushing means sloppy packing, inadequate protection, and a dramatically high risk of the item breaking in transit. Therefore, anything packed in under 30 seconds is objectively a defect.
On the exact opposite end of the spectrum, we have a boundary of 120 seconds. This is our Upper Specification Limit, or USL. Why set a maximum? Because the overarching goal of the entire company is that the customer gets the package fast. Let's look at the cascading failure if this process takes too long. If the operator takes longer than 120 seconds to pack that single box, the package will literally miss the scheduled transport carrier, waiting impatiently at the loading dock. Missing that truck means the package sits on the dock overnight. Just one single second of delay on the shop floor completely ruins the external CTQ of a fast delivery. So a packing time of 121 seconds is also, without a doubt, an objective defect.
And this brilliantly illustrates a beautifully binary reality. There is no more debate on the shop floor. There is no more guessing what the manager wants. If the time taken by the operator is under 30 seconds, the outcome is inevitably sloppy packing, and the status is instantly categorized as a defect. If the process takes over 120 seconds, the critical transport is missed, and again, it is undeniably a defect. The only acceptable window for this process, the true mathematical definition of operational success, is strictly between 30 and 120 seconds. Anything that falls outside these precise mathematical boundaries is an error.
Why does this strict framework matter so immensely? Because without the upper and lower specification limits, an operator never truly knows if they're making a mistake. They might think they're doing an absolutely incredible job by packing 50 boxes an hour, blazing fast, entirely unaware that they're causing thousands of dollars in damage down the line. Setting these limits is the only way for a company to objectively calculate process quality. Even more importantly, it empowers the worker on the floor. It gives them the psychological safety of knowing exactly what a good job looks like on any given day. It completely eliminates the stress of guesswork and successfully transforms highly subjective opinions into undeniable, hard data.
To wrap things up, I want to leave you with a final thought on operational excellence. Achieving perfection isn't about working harder, and it certainly isn't about desperately guessing what your customer wants. It is about the rigorous, disciplined translation of human emotion into strict mathematical limits. It's a journey from the vague voice of the customer to the clearly perceived external CTQ, right down to the internal upper and lower specification limits dictating every single action on the shop floor. Relying on hard data over subjective emotion is the only true way to secure perfect quality. So the next time your company launches a massive customer satisfaction initiative, ask yourself, have we actually done the math, or are we just hoping our operators can read our minds? Thank you for joining me on this explainer. Tier Learning and for Mock.